Oh man. So that's what we're going on with here. And when's the government going to shut down? I don't know. Let's see.
So if you've been sick, you know that intensive care is not something that doctors recommend lightly. Boris Johnson is clearly in danger tonight, and that's a bad sign.
It is a bad sign. Who's going to brush his hair? Who's going to brush his wispy hair?
Was finally going to get it brushed?
Yes, finally. And YouTube's also being super gay with videos.
So if you've been sick, you know that
go.
intensive care is not something that doctors recommend lightly. Boris Johnson is clearly in danger tonight, and that's a bad sign. Johnson is in his mid-50s and hale enough to lead a country. If this can happen to him, a lot of us should be worried. And we are worried enough to endure things that just a month ago would have seemed preposterous. Last week, Dr. Michael Ryan, he's a leader at the World Health Organization, announced that in response to the spread of this virus, authorities may have to enter people's homes and remove family members, presumably by force.
And? Hey, nice libertarian take, Tucker. You don't want that for your safety?
I don't.
Okay, sorry, Ron Paul. I didn't realize that you didn't want people
That's a lovely
going into your
compliment.
home.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
That's very nice of you.
You're welcome. Okay, sorry. Rand Paul.
Hey, come
Not
on,
as
man.
nice.
Don't be a
Come
fucking dick. Don't be a fucking asshole.
You fucker, you bitch.
Yeah, now you're just being an asshole.
In most parts of the world, due to lockdown, most of the transmission that's actually happening in many countries now is happening in the household.
Listen to me. You should be running the transporter on the fucking Enterprise, and that's all you should be allowed to be doing. I don't know why he's in the World Health Organization. Chief O'Brien over here.
Family level. In some senses,
Oh, speaking to me Asian wife last night.
She's terrible. Kiko's the worst.
has been taken off the streets and pushed back into family units. Now we need to go and look in families to find those people who may be sick and remove them and isolate them in a safe and dignified manner.
Perfectly normal.
In a safe and they said safe and dignified manner, Mike.
Hey, I get it, bro. I'm on board. You ain't got to tell me twice.
Just so you know, we're coming to your house, seizing your children, and, quote, isolating them in a safe and dignified manner,
Good.
whatever that means.
Thank God.
Now, that's not something that under normal circumstances...
I would like to imagine the Tucker sitting there wearing the suit top with just shorts, and there's a handgun on the table that you don't see.
I like the pictures like that all the time, not just during the coronavirus.
Right.
It's just how he is.
Bottle of scotch.
Yeah.
Officials casually drop during briefings. It's the kind of statement that might trigger violence. People don't respond well when you threaten to take their kids. But
oh, come on. Do these people know that it's for their greater good and they're to flatten Mike?
I don't know. I think that black lady, the video we played, probably would have liked that. Listen, if Donald Trump, if Trump want to take my kids,
the kids will be outside with their backpacks waiting to be picked up.
Yeah, I don't
Ryan-
need those kids. No.
Yeah.
Oof, no.
said it like it was no big deal, and that's how the media treated it. His threat didn't make headlines in any of the major newspapers in this country. That's the kind of moment we're in. So how long will this moment last? Well, on Friday...
Oh, did you see what this guy said?
I don't know who this guy is, but he seems like a real...
Mayor of L.A.
Oh.
Eric Garcetti, the mayor of Los Angeles...
Oh, wait, let me guess. Can I guess?
Sure.
Despite the fact that this is a overwhelmingly frightening time in America, the fact that we have a contagion that is spreading around and harming people, I can't in good conscience, as a public service, allow the civil rights of my citizens and constituents to be violated in the name of public safety.
You're very close.
Okay.
And by close, I mean completely wrong.
Oh, wow.
We need to make sure that everybody continues to let us know where those folks are. If you've observed recurring violations of the Safer at Home order, please continue to let us know at coronavirus.lacity.org/business-violation.
Oh, but it gets better. Oh, no. It gets better.
Business violation. You know the old expression about snitches? Well, in this case, snitches get rewards.
Mayor of L.A., everybody.
Have we lost our fucking minds?
Mayor of L.A.,
Like, I don't
everyone.
even. I'm not even mad at them for doing what they're doing at this point because they're gonna fuck us, right? But that was so tone deaf. Did he think that was a good? Was he proud of that?
But do we talk about this all the time? Like, even when you're doing something bad, you have to be smart about it. Like, there's ways to violate people's rights where they'll be like, "Oh, okay, well that sounds good. It's safety." But when you go snitches get rewards,
I don't think this guy's gonna get reelected.
He will.
I mean,
Who's going to run against him?
I'm not saying it's going to be a Republican. Oh, man, we're going to turn L.A. red. I'm not that retarded.
A moderate, maybe?
But I'm thinking they're going to have to get another Democrat now because they're going to be like, they're going to play this on a loop in Los Angeles. Like, you can't just...
Well,
snitches get rewards. They're going to go, look, we like you, Tom. You have to sit this... No, we're going to get another Democrat in here. You can't.
I don't know if you know this, Mike, but there's a big percentage of people from Los Angeles that don't like snitches. It's a big community
it's
of people.
all of Los Angeles.
Yes. It's one more time.
Predicted that the first in a series of lockdowns will go on until June.
June, baby.
One of the things that just concerns me, it's not one of those immediate concerns, but is...
I have AIDS. Will this affect me? Comment?
This draws out through the summer, and then the cold weather comes around, and then there's another wave of it. How do you, as a leader, how do you think about this?
Early on, when people said, is this just going to be a few days or a couple weeks? I said, no, I think it's at least 2 months. And I said, if we're successful in this, we can expect a second spike in the late fall or early winter. That's how viruses work.
This is one of the questions I've been asking people. Like, when they go, well, it's just going to get through this and blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, cool. What happens when it comes back? What happens next time? Are we going to do this 2-3 times a year now?
Yes.
We can't do that.
Always.
That's not a way. We can't live that way. It's just like with communism. That's unsustainable. We can't do that.
I'm sorry, Mike, but you didn't like summer vacation when you were in school?
Dude, we can't do this.
Expect a second spike in the late fall.
Well, there's something about LA that I think you didn't think about. It's not prone to riots. Give me 2 examples.
The Los Angeles riot. It was literally called the Los Angeles riots.
That's why it was called that?
The Watts riots.
Oh, okay.
The Nipsey Hussle funeral.
All right. Well, fine. So, okay, but those are like outliers. Like normally.
There was another one I can't remember the name of, but there have been others, Royce.
It was a Sublime concert.
It was Sublime with Rome, actually.
That's why
the riot.
Oh, I'd riot too. Are you terrible? Oh, it's terrible.
Yeah, they didn't write with Rome on the sign. People had already paid.
Really
they were
pissed.
furious.
I'm sorry, but Bradley's been famously dead for 12 years.
Sorry, folks. Sublime has been replaced tonight with the Long Beach Dub All Stars. Boo! Start throwing glass bottles and shit.
And they can't make it, and it's just slightly stupid.
Fall or early winter. That's how viruses work. We better steel ourselves for a second and maybe even third round of this, but we also need to be nimble enough to know.
So let's just never go out again.
Never. No. We would just stay in our homes.
Let's
always.
just hide forever. I don't think that's going to be very sustainable, sir.
Oh, Rodney King.
Flip a switch one day and turn the economy back on.
A quote, second and maybe even third round of lockdowns. That's a long time. Former Obama official Jason Furman, who's now an economist at Harvard, predicts that
Furman, eh?
disruption may be even more severe than that. Quote, we should certainly be prepared for a meaningful level of deliberate suspension of economic activity for the rest of the year.
Mike, we don't need
It's
an economy.
fucking April.
Mike, we don't need an economy.
It's April, and we've been going through this since March.
Mike, we don't need an economy. What country needs an economy to survive? Name one.
This is fucking insane. This is insane. And the idiots that I know, they're bitching about like the most retarded shit. Like all the people I know in Tampa right now are bitching about DeSantis and the unemployment phone line's not working and shit. These morons aren't even mad that they can't go back to work. They're mad that they're not getting. They're not going to get their free government check.
Right.
And they want rent suspended. Everybody just wants to live like they live at their parents' house now. It's like it's not how it works. We can't do that. We got to go back to fucking work. That's what you should be mad about.
Very, very mad about
The fact that the government could just snap their fingers now and shut down your whole city. should be a fucking concern to you people. Not the fact that, oh, well, the unemployment website's not working. Yeah, well, I'm pretty sure they're not used to the entire state filing at the same time at 4 p.m. That's to be expected.
Well, it would be nice to know that there's a good reason for all of this, and of course everyone wants there to be a good reason, sincerely. Yet the arguments for a prolonged national lockdown are starting to sound strained. In a much-discussed article on Medium recently, 2 academics from Pittsburgh argued that lifting the lockdown at all, even many months from now, would be negligent. Quote, as long as a large majority of the population remains uninfected, lifting containment measures will lead to an epidemic almost as large as would happen without having mitigations in place at all. Well, that sounds plausible when you read it. In fact, it sounds like science. But is it science? A large majority of the population remains uninfected, they say. But is that true? We don't know it's true. As of today, nobody can say what percentage of the American population is infected or has been infected. There haven't been large-scale randomized tests conducted here. We don't even know when the disease first arrived in the United States. There's informed speculation that this strain of coronavirus has been here since late November or December. Authorities traced the first confirmed case to January 15th in Washington state. An unnamed 35-year-old Chinese immigrant landed in the United States after visiting his family in Wuhan and wound up in a hospital outside Seattle. Apparently, he recovered. Now, depending on how you count, the virus has been circulating among us for up to 4 months now. For most of that time, there was no systematic attempt to quarantine the population. How many Americans were infected over that period? Again, we don't even have a ballpark number for that, but the number could be enormous because the virus turns out to be much easier to transmit than we thought it was. On Friday, you may have noticed, the CDC issued new guidance on mask use.
They don't work. The Surgeon General said they're stupid.
No, they only work
morons.
on medical professionals.
Pay attention.
The government now recommends wearing, quote, cloth face coverings in public. Why'd they make that change? Because researchers are learning more about how this virus moves from person to person. Scientists now believe the coronavirus can be transmitted by someone who shows no symptoms merely by speaking. Remember when they told you that hand washing was the key to staying safe? Mm-hmm. That recommendation was based on the belief the virus lived mostly on surfaces, and that's not the case. We're still not exactly sure how the virus is spread, but among some populations and
you put wow stickers on your car.
Yeah, and then girls show you their gross titties on a Wednesday.
Yeah, and then you yell O&A Party Rock behind reporters.
God.
That's how it spreads.
That is so
Pay attention.
The 2000s were so cringe.
I know. Look, man, I was part of it, so I can't really even pretend I wasn't. But yeah, so check this out. The get food part.
It might work if it actually separated people, if citizens were forced to stay in their homes and not have any interaction with other people. But we're not doing that in the United States. We never will do that here. Too many Americans live alone, for one thing. People would starve to death. Instead, the directive we're living under is this: stay home except to buy food. The one place you can go is the supermarket, where, by the way, everyone else in your neighborhood has been this week. From an epidemiological standpoint, this is lunacy. If you wanted to infect an entire population, you'd encourage everyone in a specific zip code to meet regularly in one enclosed location. It doesn't make sense. Authorities must know it doesn't make sense, that's obvious, but instead of changing course or fine-tuning, they're doubling down, hoping that vehemence will compensate for bad science. Here's the mayor of Los Angeles just last week.
This mayor has just been knocking him out of the park lately.
If you've observed recurring violations in this,
they're all safe.
So you just saw the mayor of our second biggest city offering to pay citizens to snitch on their neighbors for, among other things, daring to go to work. Working is one activity we've decided should not be allowed. Jogging, fishing, golf, fine. Being employed, a massive threat to public health. We've decided that offices are somehow more dangerous than supermarkets, far more dangerous, though no one has to date bothered to explain how. The result of this?
Tucker, why are you being such a libertarian right now? Don't you care about grandfathers dying?
Wait, can I do it as one of his frequent guests?
Sure.
Tucker, why are you acting like a libertarian? People are dying, Tucker.
About the decisions we've made in the face of this pandemic. Is there a single person who sincerely expects the coronavirus itself will hurt more people in the end than the damage we're causing in our response to it? Probably not. Mass unemployment is almost certain to cause far more harm, including physical harm, to the average family than this disease. In 1967, 2 psychiatric researchers decided to rank traumatic life events in order of how profoundly they affected people's health.
And basically, he goes on to say that unemployment affects you more and blah, 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 blah. So, look, what I'm saying is this. Snitch on your neighbors. It's very, very important to snitch on your neighbors. Somebody says, Tucker's so tone deaf. Does he know people are literally dying?
Yeah, but no, by the way, I am pro snitch on your neighbors. I am. The music's too loud. That's about it.
That's it?
That's about the only time I'd snitch on my neighbors.
Even if it's too loud, I wouldn't even care unless it's like the middle of the night.
Well, that's what I mean. Not in the daytime, but I mean, if their music or if they're just constantly doing it, then you're like, yeah, look, I want these people arrested and thrown in prison.
I'm not even pro that. I normally just go and knock
life
on their door.
in prison.
I knock on their door and be like, hey, can you mind lowering?
Life in prison.
Oh, nice.
I'll go, I think they're drug dealers.